Don't mind me.
That's fine, we're not. So,
We've been live for the past 5 minutes. Just sit and wait.
Well, I'm sorry. Doing more important things. Like making sure a 3D printer I lent my brother-in-law for the last 6 months still works.
does it?
Well, it's printing something.
Well,
It did look like dog hair, though, to be fair.
Huh? I've tidied up my shed and now my bin's over there instead of here, so I can open my beer fridge. And I have to move to get to the bin. That's not better.
Shall we do a nice crisp start?
We're known for it.
what, Walkers?
Oh.
Oh, crisp. Sorry, I was like, what's start got to do with walkers?
Oh, can I show you something cool before we start?
Oh, no. Just pretend that there's people watching us. Just you carry on, Chris. Please, hang on. If it's going to get the video deleted, then don't show it.
It's not. You know the author we had on last week?
The what? Oh, the author.
Awful. I thought you said awful.
The author. He was approached and had his book turned into a comic book series. And he sent me a signed copy of the first edition.
Of the comic book?
Yeah.
Cool as he like.
That was nice of him.
Bill the Vampire. Awesome.
Fucking $35 it cost him to send that.
So not only you were a vaping free shit hunter, you're also a comic book free shit hunter as well.
Yeah.
Actually, I paid for the comic, but it said on his website that he didn't. If anyone internationally ordered, he'd refund. He didn't do international orders.
Ah.
I said to him before I invited him on the show, I said, "Look, I really want a copy." He's only charged. He goes, "Yeah, I'll make an exception."
Can I just say before we go any further, Craig, the first words out of Chandler's gob are potato rated. Right, I am just going to share. Chandler,
What?
look at that. Look. No potato.
No potato.
No potato.
And possibly HD too.
Possibly HD too. Chandler went out and bought himself a Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Just to bring himself up to date.
Actually, it's a Sinclair ZX Spectrum 128K plus 2.
Can I just actually point out that the fact that I sold Chandler his new computer, and although it's not the best in the world, there's probably about 1,000 quid worth of hardware in it. It's running like a top spec computer from 2014, and Chandler reckons it's still 20 times faster than the computer he was on. What took him an hour to render a podcast took him 3 minutes on the computer I sent him. So can I just say, Chandler, officially from Vape Talk UK, welcome to 2014, mate.
Thank you. 24.
I'm just saying, my laptop runs twice as fast as that computer.
Your laptop is faster than that.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I wouldn't have sold you if it was the best thing I had, would I?
Oh my god. Yeah, but it's now the best thing I ever had. It's amazing. On a stick.
Guess what they're releasing soon?
Ready Player One?
It's a thing called a Nintendo Wii, right?
Yeah.
And when you move, it controls a screen.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
You can play bowling and cricket and tennis and everything.
Oh come on! You'll be telling me that you just point at the screen and it moves and stuff like that.
Yeah, just with a magic stick.
Yeah, right.
Witchcraft.
Oh man.
Anyway,
I don't believe this is from 2014.
No, I said it's probably probably the best spec sort of computer you could buy in 2014.
Okay, with you.
Like the best of the best of the best that was available on the market in 2014 is the equivalent of that one.
Okay.
It's not that bad, is it?
Huh?
It's not that bad, is it?
2015 maybe. I mean, the operator takes it back a year just for the fact it's him using it.
Thanks,
Jimmy. I am printing a calibration cube at the minute.
A calibration. You have calibrate. Effectively, you're doing a printer test page.
Essentially, I'm just printing a cube that's supposed to be 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters, so I can measure it and make sure that it's actually 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters.
I love the
Guess
fact
what?
that
I've actually cleaned out my shed enough so I can actually move around in it. Check that. I can actually move my chair around in my shed because I've cleared it out.
You scooted?
Yeah, scooted me.
Awesome. I'm suitably impressed.
Never.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, this battery is pissing me off. Anyway, what are you vaping on, lads? Hello, welcome. How's your week?
I'm wicking it.
How's
I'll
your
go last because I'm still wicking though.
What's the best underwear you own?
And the best question is, what did you have for dinner?
I had sausages and chips.
I
was going to have chili from the night before, but I put way more Carolina Reaper in it than I thought I had. And I was regretting it today, and I thought, do I really want to be regretting it again tomorrow?
I also had sausages and pasta.
You had sausages and pasta. I always tell,
very nice.
I always tell the missus I want sausage pasta. She said, you can't have sausage pasta.
Why not?
Why can't you have sausage pasta?
She's a psycho. She wants to watch the world burn.
Okay.
Chandler, what did you have for dinner?
Some rather strange. It was chili. Yeah. Slightly well done. Hang on.
It wasn't chili, mate. It was Bernie.
It was, it was really nice.
I bet it fucking was lovely. Got a picture?
Yeah, I have got a picture. There we go. See if I can get that on the camera without it reflecting the screen.
There we go.
Oh,
hang on. Let me share your screen.
If you tilt it up a little bit, there we go. Look at that.
There we go.
Does that not look like an ashtray with roll-ups in it?
That looks so appetizing, doesn't it?
That looks like... I've lost for words, mate. It looks like someone set fire to your cat with its dinner inside it, and the dinner fell out.
Well, you know what I did? What I did was I covered it in barbecue sauce.
In petrol.
Yeah, no, covered it in barbecue sauce, and
really
the crispy bits made it taste like it was char grilled.
Did you eat it?
I did, bloody did.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Some people just wants to watch the world burn, mate.
Chris, what are you vaping on?
Billy Box, 45 milligram Nick salts. I was hoping I'd be vaping on a prototype of a mod I'm working on, but it actually turns out that the international package that I needed to collect from the depot was that comic book. So I'm not entirely disappointed, but it isn't the prototypes.
You're a little bit disappointed, though, aren't you?
Oh, no, I'm not entirely. I'm a little bit, because I was expecting to have something interesting to show you guys. Can someone speak a minute?
Chris?
Yes, why?
Making sure. I've got my surround sound set up. I've got speakers all over the place, and I haven't plugged it in since I moved house, and I've set it up, and I was just making sure it was working.
Okay.
Chris, your comic book, are you going to read it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not one of those that keeps them in plastic.
Mate, have you seen my wall? I just cut the cunts up and stick them on the wall.
He's just going to look at the pictures.
Look at
So, Chris, 45 milligram Nexo.
Billy Box.
Yeah. Same old, same old.
That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've got some a variety of alcoholic beverages. I've got some Coors Light.
Coors Light. Oh, lovely, darling.
A few of them. I've got some, well, it was tonic water, but I poured gin in it, so it's now gin and tonic in a tonic water bottle. And I have a session IPA. So I'm working my way through these.
Me, I'm on Old Faithful Nautilus with mint from V4 Vapor, 12 milligram, 60/40 high PG, I think.
Yeah, Craig. I've got a lathe over there as well, mate.
God, flipping heck.
I couldn't decide. Well, actually, no, I had the 3D printer before the lathe. The choice was between a lathe or a laser cutter. And I bought a lathe, but I'm really tempted to buy a laser cutter.
Laser cutter would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Craig's on about Crosser i3. I really want to get a CTC Riverside, which is like a cheap version. It's like a Chinese version of a. I can't remember what the type of 3D printer it is, but essentially, it pulls out of there's a pool of like resin. Oh, print is complete.
Does it really do? Does it really do a comedy cartoon noise when it finishes?
Yeah. Bloop, 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 bloop. You can change that though. I need something to chip it off with. There we go. Take that off the bed.
We're all intrigued as to see what this box is going to look like.
It's not too bad. I think the temperature's set a little bit too high. It's sort of lifted on the corners, but it's just a little cube, mate. Yeah. Little cube.
Can you get a 510 on it?
It's a cube. Not an X cube.
Okay, sorry.
Literally just printed to test, so I can test the width of it.
I was waiting for you to squeeze it and the sides to start glowing different colours.
Oh, it's not quite right.
Why?
18.5 mil.
Oh dear.
Not 20.
Anyway, welcome to Print Talk UK. SLS for beginners.
Is that everything you're vaping on then? As well as your cube?
It was Mark. Mark's been good.
It was me, and then I got cut off, so I stopped.
Go on, Mark. What else you got?
I am also on my yep, no idea. I don't even know what that is. What is it? The one RDA. In that I'm vaping on. God, that light's bright.
That is bright.
An Apple.
I tried that at the weekend.
And?
Oh, I am so buying some. That is awesome. Got to have a full bottle. Just a couple of drags on it was just not enough. It is gorgeous.
Where'd you get a couple of drags from?
You met them in a bar. They prefer the term cabaret entertainers.
Oh, right, sorry. Chloe Cave, yeah, had got some, and she got it in a. I can't remember what she got it in, to be fair, but either way, I tried it and it was really nice.
Jolly good. I'm also on another horrible sliding mod. With a 24mm goon, and I had a bit of a panic attack earlier because I thought I was down to the last little bit of my crack. Then I found 400mm downstairs, so I wasn't quite panicky. And I'm drinking wife beater. There we go.
Awesome.
Which brings us to Chandler. Now Chandler's the only one of us that actually went to Vape Jam at the weekend. So I'm sure he's going to have...
1, 2, 3. No, I've got 3.
Start to be your favourite then.
Start with my favourite.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I be leaving that one until, saving that one till last?
You'd assume, wouldn't you?
You would assume. No, I'm going to save it till last. Haha, I'm going to make you wait. Jimmy gave me that over the weekend. So,
was that an exchange for the crabs you gave him?
Yeah. So Capo Skrunk, and I've put the GR1 on top, and there's a little beater. It's great. Yeah, it's lovely. Slightly bugging me. I bet you can't see. None of my atties seem to sit flush on it. There's a you can see daylight underneath all of my atties that I've put on so far. And I had this in my pocket while I was mowing the lawn. I've just got a gobful of grass. I'm not the only one that does that, am I? mowing the lawn while with a vape in your pocket, and you end up with bits of grass in your vape.
Well, generally, I don't wear short shorts, so my pockets are deep enough to hold it.
Okay.
I'm going to go go out on a limb here and say you were wearing sort of Mr. Motivator's 80 shorts, and the pockets were so shallow that your mod was hanging out of them. But they were also skin tight, so despite hanging out, they didn't fall out.
Yeah, I even got a head, sweatband on. Yeah.
Mr. Motivator style.
Yeah, that's what oh yes. Yeah. So yeah, it's all right. I think this is you're getting what you pay for with this.
You didn't pay for it, you can't.
I know I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Jimmy gave it me. Bless him.
You get what Jimmy paid for.
I get what Jimmy paid for it. Because I was running this at full pelt. I got the full 100 watts on it, and then I swapped it onto something else and nearly blew my brains out. It's 0.3 ohm coil in there. I want to try some lower resistance coils on to see if it makes a difference. But the high resistance coils, it seems to kind of tank out at about 50 watts, even though it says it's going up to 100. But hey ho. I'm going to play with it a bit more and see what I think. I'll let you know next week.
No one's answering my maths conundrum.
What's your maths conundrum?
If a printer is only printing out at 92.5% of the size of the original model, what would I need to scale the model at in order to equalise it?
Yeah, what are you trying to do?
What
are you trying to do?
So the model at 100%, the printer's only printing out at 92% of the size. So what scale would I have to put increase the model to get the original 100%?
If it's printing out at 92, surely that would be 1.08.
So I need to print it at 101.08%.
No, 108.
Oh, Jimmy says it's going to be 102.
Right, here's my maths. Right, let's get the calculator out.
I was just doing the same. I just got the calculator out.
Right, calculator. And what is it? 92.5.
2 plus 2 is 4 minus 1 is
times what did he say? 102. 1.02. Yeah. No, that brings it up to 94.3%, Jimmy. 92.5.
108.108 recurring.
Oh no, that's 111. 92.5. What did I say? 108?
No.
1.08.
You said.
Oh yes, I was right.
What do I have to print it at?
1.08. So you're 108%. That brings it up to 99.9%.
So 108.1%.
Yeah, try that.
So where did we get to, Chandler?
What were we talking about? Percentages. Oh no. Dino is Dino in the chat. I'm trying to see if he's in the chat. Go on. Anyone recognise that? Is that your printer going again?
Yeah.
Do you remember? What was it called? Short Circuit. Sounds like you've got number 5.
Johnny 5.
That's it. You've got him wheeling around in the background. Yeah, last week I said I was after an RDTA that I could squonk. So Dino went, I've got a Gaia. So I've got a Cthulhu Gaia.
A what?
A Cthulhu Gaia. Gaia. Whatever.
Gaia, I know what that is.
You know that one, do you? Gaia.
Chandler, where's your bongos?
Gaia. I'm bongo to play it in the jungle. No?
You're not following chat.
I'm not following chat.
Just thought you'd come out with a racist comment. Just.
It's the jumper. Now, I've put this on purpose, and so I put that on. All of a sudden, Chris.
Yes, mate.
The Lost Vape drone actually makes perfect sense with
yeah.
with that RDTA on top. It's bloody amazing. That's just like, yeah, spot on. So I'm actually vaping at like 52.5 watts.
You see, I don't understand why anyone hasn't actually produced a squonker that takes a single cell yet.
A squonker that takes a single cell.
Yeah, I think they'd smash it.
Do you reckon?
It's a really good idea, that.
No board or anything, just complete pure mech.
No,
What do you think?
no, just a variable voltage or a mechanical one just with a single cell. I think it'd be a cracking idea.
Do you reckon?
Maybe.
Are you ready? You're waiting for this, aren't you? Right, this is the reason I've put this jumper on is because this doesn't look so lost with my jumper in the background.
Don't try and justify the jumper.
What do you think?
Do you know when you held it up earlier, I swear I could see a letter in one of the lines. It looks as though it says soul or...
What, on here?
Yeah.
I don't think it... I haven't noticed any letters in it.
That is nice.
That's Mr. Dacus. And it's so lovely. And what I like is Phil, who makes the blocks. Phil, can't remember the surname. Someone will know in chat, won't you?
Phil.
Someone will know in chat. No, they won't. Okay. When he makes his blocks and he's finished his resin.
You do realise there's a delay. Can I just say that you've said someone will know in chat? Oh, they won't. Yeah, they probably haven't even heard you ask the question yet. Mate.
Yeah, but they have now, you see, because you've tactfully told me about the delay.
You knew about the fucking... Well, actually, sorry. You thought there was a delay because of your computer, didn't you?
Yes.
That was it.
I'm so used to there actually being a delay that I can actually tell.
Philip Page.
Philip Page. Thanks. Cheers. Thanks, Martin. But yeah, when he makes his resin and he's got a bit left, he pours it into a pot. So basically, these are all the leftovers from when he's been making other mods. I mean, that is just gorgeous for leftovers. And I saw...
He makes a lot of blue mods, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of blue in there, actually. Quite a bit of blue, green, red. And I saw Bradley Pinto from Phobic Mods. And he's got Mike's, you know, the dual battery squad that he's got.
Brad is a fucking...
That bit of red there is exactly the same colour as Bradley's mod.
Is that your new claim to fame?
That is my claim to fame. It may or may not actually be Bradley's the same resin from Bradley's mod, but I'm pretending that it is. So there you go. That bit there is from Bradley's mod. So there you go.
How was it then? How was Jam?
Oh, yeah. Actually, first time I've been to Jam. So yeah, it was the first time I've been to Jam, and my first impression when I went in was it's small in here, isn't it? It felt quite small. Well, apparently, it was the same size as it was last year. So
your first impression, you were a little underwhelmed by the size. But when you left, apart from being very tired,
a lot of juice, as was expected, of the event. There wasn't as much hardware as I wanted. I was hoping to see booths that were effectively like a vape shop, where they've got all the different atties, all the different mods from different companies, and they were selling like that, but it wasn't. There was a few, or if there was, I missed them. There was a couple of, there was Asmodus was there. There were hardware manufacturers there, but they were all one make, if that makes sense.
And obviously you got the Modders Block.
Modders Block was awesome. Yeah.
Did you fight a bunch of fanboys for a? Did you wrestle?
No.
No, for a Frankie? No.
No. Didn't. But I did get to hold one in my hands.
I heard
Overwhelmed by you.
I did. I held one in my hands and went, oh. It was very nice.
I heard there was quite a lot of fuckery going on with pass swapping and stuff.
Yes, there was. Because obviously the way it works is B2B in the morning, and VIPs come in at 12 and the general public come in at 1. So basically, if you've got a B2B lanyard on, you weren't allowed to wait in the queue because you weren't. He was basically turning them away. So you weren't allowed to turn up with a B2B lanyard on, because he was waiting to sell to everybody when they came in at 1 o'clock.
Mm.
So yeah, there were people, B2B people, borrowing VIP lanyards so they could get in the queue.
Right.
Apparently there was security there and everything.
Yes, I heard security was there. A friend of mine said that they were somewhat a little rude to some people, but hey ho, each to their own. You know, if you want something that badly, then you'll keep it.
Part of me is like, you know, the queue to get it was just like bonkers. So yeah, I could half understand why security was needed, but yeah, did I have to get a raffle ticket to hold it? Thanks, Badger. No raffle tickets. I didn't particularly go near the stall, to be fair. Yeah, I avoided Frankie. Sorry. So but to be fair, I haven't got the pennies to spend on Frankies.
What were they? $2.40 this year? Is that right?
Sure. Yeah, and then some. Some of them. It varied depending which ones they were. Yeah. But yeah, I think $2.40 was the cheapest they had.
Mm. You see, I've heard from vendors that the Friday was really, really good. Saturday not so great. Apparently a lot of people turned up, had a wander around and then went off to get pissed, which sounds like an absolute perfect show to me, but obviously to vendors that's not ideal.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. It was starting to quieten down a bit. Oh, and Professor Green was there.
So, you know who that is?
Is he must be down to his last million then? If he's
I don't know. It was one of those where I went, you know, oh, Professor Green's here. I've got to go and see him. And it was then in the car on the way home going, didn't see Professor Green. But there you go. I got way too excited about meeting Grim Green and Ruby. So
we saw the photo. You look very proud. Did you get an interview?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes, we did. And while we were interviewing them, the iOS guys turned up. So there was John, there was Rick. Well, you know them all. They were all there, plus a few others. And Jimmy got covered in stickers. Hang on, give me a second, and I might find them for you. Right, let's see if I can figure out. I haven't actually tried. No, I don't want to open it up with paint. Photos. I'll have to be that one. There you go. Woo! Right, screen share. Look at this, the speed on this.
I'm not feeling it.
Why isn't it showing my screen? There we go. Share it. Oh, hello. Is that screen sharing?
Yeah, it's screen sharing me.
Where's my photos? Oh, there we go. Hang on. Why is it only showing 2 pictures? What? Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh. Right. Yeah. That is Jimmy after the interview.
Wait, I'm not looking. Right now, let me see.
Yeah, Jimmy kind of got molested. I was getting groped by, I think it was John. I think it was a slightly whipsy John Martin behind me. But I'm not sure. It might have been Richard. I don't know. I couldn't see. So it made for it was not as if I was nervous at seeing these guys. Where are we? Where's the picture? There you go. Look at that. I am going to get that framed, and that's going to go up here.
Right. That does need a caption. Okay,
that does need a caption or something.
Grim has blatantly got his finger up Jimmy's arse.
Yeah.
It does look like he's reached the vinegar strokes, doesn't it? Tidied out this desk. I'm finding mods and shit.
Oh dear.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So you walked away a happy man, or?
So very much so. Very much. Really enjoyed it. So, but again, it was mainly because of the social. And have I stopped screen sharing?
No, you're still screen sharing.
Oh, there we go. That's better. Yeah, it was mainly because of meeting everybody. I mean, Ollie Deacles was there.
Ollie Deacles. Ollie Deacles. Ollie Deacles, you're an absolute diamond.
I have a feeling I just mispronounced his name, haven't I?
A little bit.
Yeah. I don't usually call him by his surname, to be fair.
He's in the chat tonight as Doggo.
As Doggo. Arse. Talking of which, did you see? I'm talking about iOS. I can get away with it. They did a text prediction thread. Basically, I love vaping because and then just use your text prediction to bring up the to bring up a sentence, and I just commented. Stuart commented something, and I just wrote "I love you," and then realised that my text prediction was offering me Ollie. I'm not saying his surname again, but yeah, just I'm like, okay, that is a bit random. So apparently, I love Ollie. There you go. Yeah, all a bit random.
Good to meet you, Dimmock. Who's Dimmock?
That'll be Charlie. Met Charlie.
But Charlie's not in the chat. Does he know that?
Hang on, where are we? Jimmy Deacles. Oh, okay, tell me how to pronounce it properly. Deckles?
Deeks.
Deeks! Oh, for fuck's sake.
Anyway,
sorry, Ollie.
All in all, you had a good time. Enjoyable.
Yeah, but it was all if I'd have gone on my own and not known anyone when I got there, because I've been to Expo, I would have been a little disappointed. Had I not been to Expo, it would have been great. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that kind of sum it up? The reason it was so good was because I think it was the first of the year. I got to see some folk I know via Tinterweb, but I haven't met. And just having a right chat with folk. Yeah, it was good to see you, Mark Ski, because I saw Mark Ski. Mark Ski was there. So yeah, it was awesome. There you go. So are you going to Expo then, either of you two?
I'm not sure if I'm going to be at Expo or Stuttgart. One of the two. Either way, it'll only be a social.
I forgot Stuttgart was on at the same time.
It's going to be interesting to see how busy Expo is or not.
It is going to be. It is going to be interesting because. Yeah.
However, there has been from. I was having a conversation with somebody during the week, and apparently it's very, very difficult to sell hardware legally in Germany. So I'm expecting Stuttgart, as far as hardware, to be quite difficult. I've heard they're having to put signs up to say hardware not for sale.
Why is that?
Because the laws in Germany are much stricter.
Really?
Than they are here in the TPD.
I actually thought they were looser. I thought they were, because I mean you can get the bigger tanks than we can over here.
But you can't. Legitimately, you can't.
Well, no, I mean legitimately we can't. But if I was in Germany, if I lived in Germany, I would be able to buy a 5 mil, 10 mil, 50 mil tank.
Yeah, I don't know it. I think it's the TPD, John. I'm not sure it's tax. I'm not 100% sure, but the conversation I had with someone during the week had a feeling that it was something to do with the TPD and hardware. I've not had a definitive answer, a definitive response yet, but I'm hunting a response down. But it might be a little bit awkward for all those going for hardware and not necessarily being able to buy it.
Yeah, that's going to be weird.
Especially because there's a lot of modders going.
But having said that, I went to Jam. I was going to order some wire over the Tinterweb before I went. And I thought, what am I doing? I'm going to Jam next week. And I didn't actually find anyone that was selling wire. So I'm now really short of wire. That means your printer's done, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah, C3PO's got his cock out again.
So Chandler, you had a bit of news this evening, didn't you, regarding the law?
And the law.
We are the law, yes, and I didn't actually. Oh, actually, my computer is probably going to cope with me actually disappearing off and finding the YouTube clip. Not YouTube clip. This one. And I'm not screen sharing, am I?
No.
No, that would be useful, wouldn't it?
A little bit.
Can you see how professional I am?
As professional as Chris, who spent his whole evening with his head in his printer.
There we go.
Listen here, lad. If you're about Jam, I'm at Jam. What fucking input do you want from me?
There we go. There was a judge in New York, and he's been photographed. I'm not sure how, because they're not allowed cameras. Are they allowed cameras in a courtroom? I know they're not in the UK. Is it presumed?
They film and photograph, don't they, in the States?
Do they? I know they sometimes televise them. Whereas we have to have someone in there drawing, because we can't take pictures. We're going to draw it instead.
Can I just show this quickly, because I'm doing something? Wow, look at that. Collective effort, that.
Hang on a minute. I'm looking at the one wrong. Wrong. Make it bigger, because all I've got is a...
Click it. Click on my picture and you'll see it.
Oh, click on your picture. There you go. Yeah, but that doesn't work for it. 2004. 20.04. There you go. I told you. 108.
108.1. I put.
0.1. Yeah, okay. That was Craig who got the 0.1. Awesome. There you go.
Oh, yes. Are you sharing your screen, or have you done with that?
Yeah, sorry, completely shit. I think I've just closed it. Yeah, never mind. Either way, this judge was caught vaping on the bench, and vaping indoors isn't allowed in New York, so he had to apologise, which I thought was mildly amusing. But there we go. Just wanted to share that with you.
So should we be allowed to vape in court then?
No, why would you want to?
I don't know.
I think we should be able to suck dick in court. It might get me off a few charges. I think we should. I've seen a few posters going around from NHS hospitals that have put up smoking is completely banned on this area. But however, we do encourage the use of electronic cigarettes and vaping devices. If that's not a win, I don't know what is. Actually, I'll tell you what is. Cracking open this beer, that's a win.
You can stop me presenting now, Mark. I know everybody likes looking at my beard and my wonderful jumper, but you know.
There we go.
I think we ought to give you two a good go as well. So
a good go.
Yeah.
All we'll see is Chris's hat if we present Chris.
Well, this is true because he's got his head down. We just see the top of his hat.
How's that?
Awesome. We can see your lovely face, mate.
Oh, that's quite good.
So, also other news this week. It sounds as though nurses are being given information and being trained on advising for electronic cigarettes.
About bloody time too.
That was one of my bugbears that I've mentioned this on a show in the past about. Sorry, the NHS have a new RDA coming out. I'm waiting for the punchline.
Or was there a punchline?
No idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Just with how negative doctors, nurses, and other health practitioners were with regards to vaping.
So, yeah, they weren't exactly pushing it, were they? But to be fair, I don't know about you, but nurses seem to be one of the biggest professions I know for smoking.
Mm.
The amount of nurses that smoke.
To be fair, it's an extremely stressful job. I think I'd smoke if I was a nurse.
Yeah, you need something, don't you?
But no, it is good to see that the NHS and health authorities are potentially starting to advise rather than abuse.
Jonathan Clark came out. The new RDA coming out is called the IV drip.
Are we going to get our guest on and liven things up a bit?
I'm waiting. He's got the link. He's just having to download something.
I'm about ready to have a nap.
Oh, easy, old man. Nap time.
I've had a long day, mate.
How long was your day?
Longer than I want it to be.
Oh, bless you.
What, 4 hours if you're lucky?
Fuck off, you cheeky cunt.
I can't keep up with the chat.
What's it? In chat, not I hat. What? You still I hat. Okay. No, it looks like he's gone. Sorry. Yeah, there you go.
No idea.
Good job that the chat's going to be able to come back when you're watching it back again, isn't it?
Yes, I like that.
It does work well, doesn't it?
It does. Oh, we're just going to sit and wait for our guest, I think.
All right, talk amongst yourselves. It's fine. We're just going to...
He used to apply for his visa.
No.
Hey, I tell you what was missing from Jam.
What's that?
What was really missing from Jam? It was the companies that have brands that look vaguely like something else.
That's a very fucking vague...
I did see one of your photos had got Oreo on there or something.
Yeah, Jimmy found a couple, and I'm not screen sharing again, am I? I've got to remember that screen sharing would be good. There we go. So he did find there was one stall. This is just one stall that had got some really ropey.
Hang on, go back to that. I'm guessing.
Go back to it.
Go back to that one. Looking at the literature on the table, it looks like a Malaysian brand.
How did you know it was a Malaysian brand? You know the brand, I assume.
No, there's a flag on the back of the literature.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay, yeah. I'm pointing with my mouse. That does nothing. That does absolutely nothing.
Can you see your mouse?
Can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that was Malaysia. Yeah, I'm impressed you could tell because it's even upside down.
Hello, my friend.
But I mean, there's this one. Look, there you go. Harry Dripper, chocolate frog.
Harry Driver. I suppose that's not necessarily a. It is. Is the chocolate frog by Harry Dripper okay?
We didn't try any of the juices. To be fair.
No. I don't mean did it taste okay, you knob. I meant
okay.
Is it okay? Is it okay to do? Is it okay to have?
Arthur, did you produce that? Can you tell us anything about it?
I think that's about as close as it. I think that is you're getting close to the line and you're not quite stepping over.
Right.
That one. I don't know what you think, but that one.
I think that you and Jimmy.
That one is. There's the line, and it's like whee straight over.
Oleo,
wonky. But when has Wonker and Oreo been associated?
Someone did a bit of wonky research.
Yeah, definitely wonky research. But I mean, it's just lazy branding again, isn't it? It's like, what do we call it? I know. Let's use someone else's logo because we don't have to put any work into it. But I mean, the usual like fantasy and I plugged them and I really didn't mean to, but yeah, those brands that are usually got a big presence at Expo.
You see, to be fair, Fantasy have rebranded.
Are they?
Yeah.
I haven't seen their rebrand.
Yeah, there's been a rebrand.
Is it Fantasy now?
Say again.
Is it Fantasy now?
Fantasy. I'm gonna turn Chris up.
Fun Factory.
So anyway, before we can get Chandler into the fucking conversation, now we can't get him out of it.
Sorry.
Welcome, Arthur. How are we?
I'm very well, thank you. I've managed to get the visa last minute for this beautiful live stream.
Awesome.
Those of you that don't know Arthur, then you've been under a rock for the past.
If you've watched The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, this is what he looks like when he grows up.
Say that again.
If you watched The Boy in the Striped Pajamas,
I haven't.
You know,
I know it's about a Polish kid.
Right. Okay. I won't spoil the ending then. He doesn't grow up. There you go. Oops.
I won't spoil the ending. He doesn't kind of fucked that one there, mate.
So those of you that don't know Arthur, give us a brief introduction. Say hi. Tell us a bit about yourself.
there's not much to say really. My name is Arthur Wenker Jr. I'm a Polish immigrant, and that's about it. As in bottom line. But obviously now, those who don't know me, I've been in the vaping industry for about 3 years now. Started off with my own brand. Obviously been through all the hurdles that the brand manufacturer did experience over the last 3 years. Lost a few battles, won a few battles, established a few opinions, had to defend a few opinions, and I suppose that I'm here to defend one of my opinions that I'm kind to for a year now, which I had to adjust. But
you've upset a lot of people on the way.
You won your
yeah,
battle.
perhaps, as you do. But I hope I did.
That's a good thing.
I hope I did it with style and you know, for the right reason. Sometimes it's good to be wrong if it's for the right reason. So
I mean, you've won some fairly big battles. I mean, you beat Brexit. It's a start.
Well, I wasn't entitled to vote really, so you know, it's not my fault.
Arthur Wenker Jr. I think Arthur Wenker Senior. He manages Arsenal, didn't he?
No, there's no Arthur Wenker Senior really. So, although you know, I've posted a picture of my stepson recently, and he looks like myself. So I think I have to turn myself into Arthur Wenker Senior quite soon.
Uh-oh.
So tell us about this opinion you think you're here to defend, Arthur.
It's not an opinion. This is so Arthur posted, when was it? Yesterday? Today?
Today.
It was today. He posted something on Facebook that has raised a few eyebrows, whether it's positive, negative, or any other. Arthur, do you want to tell us a bit about what you posted?
Yes, I can tell you a bit about what I posted. Let me just bring it up. So basically, obviously, the post sort of states that the trading standards at the minute are trying to catch up with the law that was existing for quite a while, which is the General Product Safety Regulations 2005. And I suppose because obviously the short fill situation is kind of got out of hand over the last year. You know, trading standards are looking for a way to capture the short fills under any regulations, really. And since there is no existent regulations as such for short fills, they're trying to partially apply the TRPR regulations to the short fills, which, you know, to me seems to be sort of the right way from how it should be from the start anyway. You know, I was against the short fills in the very early days, obviously when we was in the TPD conversion period. Certainly, you know, if you look at the money aspect of it, there's a hell of a lot of companies that, you know, have been left over with tons of TPD stock and probably will never be able to shift it, obviously because of expiry date, but they're not in position to, you know, compete on the retail price and with a normal short fill, not to say about the short fill that isn't undergoing any testing and all that, you know. So yeah, as I said back in the day, a year ago, I was quite against the short fills in general because I thought it is a loophole and the industry should rather go the right direction rather than what was, in my opinion, the wrong direction. Obviously, then the absolute burst of the short fills sort of forced me to adjust my opinion on this one. Which obviously, you know, I would be probably it's going to be sounding a little bit wrong. That you know, I've recommended to a company that I used to work for to actually join the short fill market back in the day, but do it in the right way. So test them from day one. And you know, it's just quite simple. You know, as the saying says, if you can't beat something, just join it and do it proper. You know, that was that was my thought. But then what happened to the short fills afterwards? Let me just make this point clear, because that was the main concern with the short fills for me, and still is. And I think that all of us here in this chat, and majority of us will certainly agree that what happened with the short fills over the last 6 months, you know, destabilize the market and make it actually even worse than it was pre-TPD, when people were knocking brands out, you know, almost on a weekly basis just to get the name out before the TPD kicks in, sort of. And let's face it, guys. I mean, if any one of you guys will say that the market is under control, then you know, I'm jumping out of this life, because it's absolutely not under control. And it's possibly dangerous and hazardous for the end user. And you know, I don't think any of us is in the industry to danger for the end user. You know, so yeah, that's the bottom line of it.
So where is the information that's come and said that that's exactly what trading standards are looking for come from?
Okay, the information I've posted on my Facebook today is
don't mention any brand names.
No. I'm not going to be mentioning any names. But yeah, as stupid as this sounds, this is an information pulled from one of the social network softwares from a guy who represents a company that does testing, which kind of looks a bit stupid, but because obviously this particular company sort of is preparing a program to support the other people in the industry to sort of give them guidelines how to perform the 0mg testing. So, you know, I'm speaking to this gentleman. Sorry. Yeah. If you're going to ask for evidence, I'm not in possession of any sort of evidence that I could show.
I wasn't going to ask for evidence. I wasn't asking for evidence. The thing that strikes me, right, and I hadn't seen this post until after we actually started the show. Right, even then, I didn't bother reading any of the comments. I only saw what you posted, and I've been 100% serious about that. I'm not. taking on anyone else's opinion. It's my own opinion. I didn't know where that had come from, and as you've just said, it come from a company that's setting out to test for people, which is fine. But isn't that holding the same stock that tobacco companies have when they say bad things about vaping? It's beneficial to them. The same way, if you say this is what trading standards are looking for, you need to test for it. It benefits them as a company. Does that make sense?
Chris, can we come back to that in a moment? I think we need to do this in the right sort of circle. So obviously we've got what Arthur's said, which has been distributed by a compliance company, I'm guessing, of some sort. Now, obviously, if you look at the industry since April last year, since that sell through happened, since all the non-compliant stock has supposedly disappeared off the market, the short fill industry, there has been a massive boom, and there has been a hell of a lot of shit. There's been a hell of a lot of crap that has come into the industry. Now a conversation I've had with somebody else in the past is, you know what, the TPD purposely left the short fill market in just to let us hang ourselves. And you look at the industry, you look at the juice industry specifically, hardware not so much, but juice, you know, we've all but fucking killed ourselves. I was actually added into a WhatsApp sales group over the weekend, and I believe I sent screenshots to our chat group.
Just the word WhatsApp sales group kind of discredits it for me.
So in this group, there was a wholesaler selling short fills at £2.50. Not distro. This is wholesale price, £2.50. Now, when I clicked this link and followed this link, I visited the website as a retail customer, and it appeared to let me add things to the basket. So this is effectively allowing Joe Public to buy 60mm short, 50mm short fills at £2.50.
Oh, that's nice.
Now that to me is absolutely fucking ludicrous.
Yeah, I suppose the problem with that is, and the only problem, you know, not the problem, but the only thing why I would really want manufacturers to be forced to test any product that goes out of the factory is purely it's for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is testing these days is nowhere near the cost that we anticipated pre-TPD. Let's face it. I mean, back in the day, we were expecting costs up. I remember when we was talking 10 grand per flavor per strength back in the very back day. Now you really can get the full testing done for, you know, for a marginal amount of
give our viewers some idea of the cost of getting a short fill tested, to get it tox tested.
Yeah, one sec. Obviously, it's sort of a news. Yeah, let me just have a look. I should have been prepared for this, but
but no, obviously the industry has gone to shit. You know, you go back to before the TPD, to pick up a large 120ml bottle would probably cost you the best part between 30 and 45 quid, 35, 45 quid for a 120ml bottle of juice. Now you can walk into pretty much any, and again, I apologize, I'm using a cash generator, a cash converters. You know, you can walk into there and pick up a 60ml bottle of juice for 5, 6 quid.
Like,
well, look, guys, I don't want to mislead you here.
No.
I quoted a few people here. I probably should ask. One of our guys who is actually dealing with it. But you know, it's round. We could probably test the sample for around between 40 and 100 quid. That's the sort of money you have to pay to get it tox tested. And what you have to remember is, there's other rumors as well, and you know, I'm obviously I don't want to spread rumors, but people were saying or thinking that matching or actually complying with the General Product Safety Regulation 2005 means that you will have to mirror the TRPR tests. And this is not true because, and again, I can't provide any evidence for that, but I know for a fact that, you know, trading standards are enforcing the law based on toxicology. So, you know, if they're going to start knocking doors, they won't going to ask you for emissions testing, because all you have to do is just make sure that the product is safe to use before you before you release it to the market. And toxicology is perfectly fine in order to clarify this one.
Isn't that covered by people having their clean rooms or their labs certified as clean rooms or labs? Because essentially, if you go to any good restaurant, it will say food hygiene standard rating level 5. 5 out of 5 is the best that you can get, and you'd expect it to be like that on any given day, because the whole point of inspectors is that they can turn up at any fucking point and they can go through anything that you've got in that kitchen and verify that it is up to the standard it was graded at on the day it was graded. Now, when people apply to have their labs or places certified as ISO 7 lab or blah 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 blah, it's done on a particular day. They test the air emissions, they test the cleanliness of the environment, they test etc etc etc. So generally you'd expect a standard equivalent room in which it's prepared. But when you go to a restaurant that's got a 2-star rating, a dirty kebab shop round the back alley of Brixton, you don't expect Michelin star food, right? If you see someone who spent 50, 60 grand on an ISO 7, ISO 8 clean room, an ISO 8 lab, they've got air purifiers, they've got fucking disengagement rooms where in between entering the facility and entering the lab, you have to get cleaned, you have to get changed, you have to put on a fucking lab coat, you have to wear face masks, you have to wear... There's certain precautions they take to prevent anything from contaminating their product. Now, generally, all of the big name manufacturers of concentrates, they'll have their concentrates tested. They'll know exactly what they've put into it, because it generally it's made for food flavoring. Anything that goes into food, as you'll know by looking at any fucking sandwich you buy in Tesco's, you'll have an itemized list of all the ingredients. Same with vegetable glycerin, same with monopropylene glycol, and people are selling nick shots which go in them are all tested.
I think the issue is, Chris, so your analogy of, and I'm not being argumentative here at all, I'm just trying to look from both sides. Let's say your 5-star hotel.
Yes.
Okay. They've got their 5-star kitchen. They've got their 5-star staff.
Yes.
They just happen to buy a dodgy batch of chicken, right? Nothing about the cleanliness, nothing about their staff, nothing about the way it was prepared. But that piece of chicken just happened to have salmonella in it, for example.
But
there's no way
our Michelin restaurant would be able to identify a bad batch of chicken.
What, without a chemical test? Without a chemical test?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What you have to remember, Chris, here, and which is quite important as well, there is a significant difference between consume as in eating something and consume as in inhaling something, because the potential
of
an product being hazardous to you is much more bigger. Well, the consequences of inhaling a dodgy product would be much more, could be.
I disagree.
Way more dangerous than actually eating something.
I completely disagree. I completely disagree with that. I eat a much more varied amount of food from many more sources than I do e-liquid. I vape one brand of e-liquid and one type of e-liquid. If I was gonna, I eat kebabs, I eat pizza, I eat this, and they're all from questionable sources. Like if I turned up at your house at 3 in the morning, you could offer me a kebab from 2 weeks ago and I'd probably have a go on it. The fact is that actually, the millions of people are dying of malaria and dying of cholera and dying of all of these diseases out in Africa is not through inhaling anything toxic, it's through eating something toxic. It's just that we have a standard in which we put in place which generally prevents the food that we eat from being of a standard that could make us sick. But the fact of the matter is, you'll know yourself. If I go over to Spain, I can eat a perfectly well-prepared meal, and because of the difference in the water something was boiled in, the room it was cooked in, that just a difference of what the chicken was raised on could give me the shits for 2 weeks. And
but that's it.
Yeah, but I think you're taking this analogy. You're quite right. The chip shop down the road that I go to has to have a food hygiene sticker stuck on the wall.
Mm.
And
doesn't necessarily have to be a good one. It doesn't. Having a 2-star rating is not going to make them shut down.
It doesn't have to be. No, it doesn't have to be a good one, but they have to have at least passed basic food hygiene.
And that's what people do.
They've got to be of a certain level, and that's kind of where our juice is at the moment. But
yeah, well,
there isn't that bottom. There isn't that. Your juice has got to at least hit this level.
And I completely agree.
Yeah.
It needs to be that. I don't disagree that testing will benefit the consumer. I don't disagree that knowing full well that this particular juice is not containing X, Y, or Z. What I do disagree with is the fact that that certificate is worth anything more than the paper it's written on the day it's produced. The same with criminal background checks, the same with food hygiene inspections, the same with anything. It's only as good as the paper it's written on the day it's produced. I manage a care facility, and we're encouraged to complete police background check people every 3 years. Now, the fact of the matter is that I could kill someone tomorrow, and I had my criminal background checked yesterday, and it's going to be clear for the next 3 years because they're not going to need to test it. And the fact of the matter is that that particular day, that particular batch that they send to you is going to be the best of the best. They are going to make sure they don't drop a pube in the bottle. They are going to make sure that everything is perfect just to get a certificate to say that it's been tested. But it does not mean that anything they produce after that is going to be anywhere near that standard. And that's my concern. It becomes an unnecessary.
Yeah, I fully agree. I fully agree. And that's where another thing, that's where another tool of control would step in to sort of support it. Because at the minute, not only anyone can release a product to the market without, people don't even fuck anymore about labels, excuse my French. I mean, back in the day, you go down Manchester, for example, or any wholesaler area, and what you see on the shelf is just shocking. Do you know what I mean? And I guarantee you, none of them are testing, and even more, half of them are probably going to manufacture it on the kitchen table, which is fine, because some juices manufactured on kitchen tables can be cleaner than liquid manufactured in badly managed labs. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is there's absolutely no manufacturer traceability at the minute. Well, there is, if the company is here for the long haul and they've got the procedures in place. The majority of the manufacturers, if you ask them, if someone would die because of inhaling their liquid, they wouldn't be even able to trace which batch it was. And this is another thing. I mean, one thing I'd imagine, and it's safe to say that obviously the company I represent at the minute is actually having a QC lab in-house and is testing every single batch that the factory, just for that simple reason, to be able to trace it in case anything happens.
Surely that would be the service that you offer to the consumer then.
Sorry?
They feel that that's the best approach in order to offer continuity of the safety of their liquid. Every single batch. Surely that's the service you should be offering to the consumer, not a one-off test certificate.
I would imagine so. That, or even perhaps, Chris, testing it on a regular basis would be a pain in the ass and a waste of money as well. But surely, I'm not saying that one-off test of a short film will solve the problem, but at least if we are forced to do the testing and we can expect random checks, on any future batches, I'm sure some of the current manufacturers or some of the current brand owners wouldn't be so courageous with the brand as they are at the minute, you know.
So just out of curiosity, right? I mean, as I said, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But like, for instance, say every company has to make a profit, right? That's the bottom line. Every company, in order to be viable, needs to make a profit, whether it's a charity, whether it's a fucking corporate money-grabbing arsehole company. The fact of the matter is they need to make a profit, right?
Yeah.
Say it costs your company 200 quid to do the test. That's their cost. And it costs the consumer 1,400 quid. Wouldn't it be more beneficial to say to someone that for every month or every 3 months or every 6 months for the next 3 years, we'll test one of your batches for you to ensure the compliance of the product, to ensure that the person that's providing you with a concentrate or the person that's providing you with a VG or PG is complying with the standard that you expect by purchasing it. For 2.5 grand, we'll test it every 6 months for the next 3 years. They're still making money, and they're offering a service, and they're offering to support the evidence they're providing to say it's safe. And
yeah, well, so all you're sort of suggesting at the minute is, however advertisable this sounds, all you're suggesting is obviously for me to educate other people to to do what we are doing on a daily basis anyway, just because it's the right thing to do. And you know, I agree with you. I certainly disagree with some people saying that the short fills, because they're 0 mg, they don't have to be tested. You know, I think they have to be tested, but I fully agree with you that a one-off test wouldn't solve the problem. So perhaps, but then again, you know,
there has to be a standard.
The question is, do we allow people? Do we allow people, right, to still manufacture it in kitchen tables, on kitchen tables, without it having to be tested, or even without testing them on the kitchen tables, just because we're nice people in the community?
Another question.
Or
I own a registered company. It's registered to my home address. If I've made a batch of liquid on my kitchen table, sent it to you along with 1,500 quid, and you send me a certificate to saying it's safe, which it might very well be, is that any better than someone producing it in an ISO 7 lab just because I've got a certificate and they haven't?
This is what I'm saying. It's not. It's not.
Exactly. So what standard? To what standard are we offering this test? What test is it? What is it comparable to? Is it the same test that Lucozade Energy has to go through before it's available to the consumer? Is it the same test that that drinks have to meet, or is it the same test that like
it's GCMS, Chris? It's mass spectrometry. It's vaporized and then tested. It is tested for chemicals. It's tested for what is physically in that. So obviously, let's say for example, someone's using 20% Capella V1 in there. Diacetyl is going to show up in the output.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, let me just give you one example quickly to sort of sum up this particular subject. Imagine, right? Let's say, for example, you and me manufacture the same liquid, okay? I manufactured it in a lab, you manufactured it in the kitchen. That's obviously just for the argument's sake. We use the exact same concentrate, and let's say you use it on a 15% ratio, and I use it on an 8% ratio. Yeah. Now, we know that the concentrate is safe to use because it's got the toxicology report on the supplier end, which is perfectly fine. Now, what what testing does for you tells you whether the exhaled substance of the liquid is safe for you to use or not. Now, a prime example is sometimes the liquid form, sometimes this is where I struggle with language. Sometimes a hazardous substance may be present in the liquid form, but isn't present in the inhaled form anymore, or the other way around. So this is not for testing. Is here to prevent you making the mistakes that you can't be aware of without having it tested.
But see, also, there's an infinite amount of variables to consider in that, though, because each substance in different forms has a different hazard, right? water in ice form is slippery. Water in liquid form is, well, it fucks your house up. You know, water in vapor form can scald you. Right? I get that there's an element of combustion that happens, not literally like fire combustion, and it produces X. It produces a different entity. But also that effect may be very, very, very different between me and you and Mark and his cat. And the fact of the matter is that realistically, if I buy, I'm trying to think of an example. If I buy a bag of cocaine, right? This cocaine.
That's a prime example.
Well, a bag of cocaine that's not got no shit in it. There's no shit in it. But cocaine is known to rot the cartilage in your nose. It's known to do that. If I eat it, it's going to have a different effect than if I sniff it, then if I rub it around my arsehole, then if I stick it in my eyeball, if I stick it in my ear. And the fact of the matter is that to what standard is it being tested? Is it being tested in an ego battery? Is it being tested in 0.1 ohms on a series box? There's going to be a whole variant of different outputs you have from combusting or vaporizing that liquid at various degrees, various different wires, various different cottons. But what defines that test? What makes it feasible?
Yeah, good point.
I think
it's still not really a counterpoint for the testing. You're just saying that
I'm not trying to counterpoint.
If the testing is going to be applied, it will have to be a very precise testing to eliminate or to cover every aspect, if that makes sense.
I don't doubt that testing is beneficial. I just doubt that we've got a relevant source that encompasses all of our needs at the minute. I don't think we haven't. I don't think there is a company that's out there that can offer what the consumer needs.
Right. Stop. Right. Okay. So, what I want to focus on now is what impact. Okay, let's say this happens. Let's say that trading standards come in. Let's say trading standards come in and they do these tests and you can be spot tested. And what impact is this going to have on Joe Public? Because the majority of the people sat in our chat tonight, sat listening to us, are like, what are we talking about? What's the point of this discussion? We're talking about safety, we're talking about pricing. What impact will this have on our end user, on the user? Okay, they're going to feel more confident about what they're vaping. They're going to feel comfortable that what they're vaping is safe. Okay, I'm guessing that it's going to eradicate 60-70% of the gash that's on the market. So is that then going to push the retail price back up to what it used to be? What's the overall impact on this?
Okay, that's another side of the story. Now, in my personal opinion, the way the TPD has been enforced in Europe can be classed as probably the biggest robbery and the biggest scam ever since I'm alive, to be fair. Because all it did for the last 2 years, it made people spend a fortune, truckloads of money to become compliant to a law that isn't precise enough to force the compliance, if that makes sense. That's why we are having this problem in the first place. If back in the day, someone who was writing this regulation would change one sentence saying liquids with intention to use in electronic cigarettes, short fills would never be a legal loophole. There would be a shady side of the industry and no one would jump on it. Okay, I'm not saying it's for the right reason, because on the flip side, the 10 mil solution and the 10 mil story just causes a hell of a lot of waste, which I can't see. I don't understand how the government doesn't see this as a problem and all that. It's absolutely inconvenient for the end user. It dragged the price actually up to what it was back in the day rather than to drag it down. And now, what's going to happen? Are we in a bubble now, right, that will burst at some point which the prime example you've made is an end consumer being able to buy a short fill for 250. I mean, fucking hell, how ridiculous is that? On any angle, from a manufacturer angle, from a retailer angle, how are you supposed to compete with that in any shape or form? There's no way. So I think that what needs to happen, certainly, you know, we need to make sure, we who created this industry, we need to make sure to clean it up, right? Because the 60 and 70% of the shit brands that would never ever survive any sort of regulation, they are bringing the our industry into the spotlight, and that's what causes the damage, you know. And I think that any cost, okay, any cost implication, like testing, like having to be manufactured the standard room or whatever that means, that should certainly be carried by the manufacturer rather than by anyone else. So if we say that the reasonable price for a tested premium product, although I hate the word premium, but let's use it for the sake of it, should cost 15 pounds, okay, then if all in the sudden the manufacturer has to pay an extra £1 per bottle to get it tested and make it compliant, then it should be the manufacturer paying this cost rather than increasing the retail and by £1. Simple as. So,
see,
the
problem that I find, and I'm really trying not to. I feel like a knob because it feels like I'm completely opposing everything you believe, and it's not the case. It's just that this is what's coming into my head when I ask this question. Until the government releases a standard, the same way that the SQA, which are like the Scottish Qualifications Board or whatever it is, they're put forward by the government as the governing body of qualifications in Scotland. The same way trading standards is put forward by the government as a regulatory body that regulates the standard of trade in the UK. The same way that Care Inspectorate are the national care standard that are expected for care across the UK. The government are going to need to put forward a testing facility or a specific test or something which they deem to be the standard to which things need to be tested. And at the minute, there isn't that. So for anyone offering any type of test, that they're effective, in my opinion, they're effectively lying if they say that it's going to pass any sort of standard regulation, because there is no standard. There is no standard put forward to the government apart from the 10 ml nic-containing juices.
You're basically asking for an Ofcom or an Ofsted or an Ofcom.
I want to know
for an off juice.
Yeah. Regulating what tests need to carry out. So far, it sounds like the people that are carrying out the tests, the same way you just said there, Arthur. People were paying thousands of pounds of money to be regulated or to comply with regulations that weren't actually set in stone. The same way that regulations on nick shots doesn't exist yet. There is no specific standardized regulation which specifically says this is what you need to comply with in order for your juice to be sold on UK shelves. There is nothing. So to say for any company to say we offer you a test to make you compliant is bullshit.
Let me say this. Unfortunately, I'm not in position to show you evidence to back up what I know about what you're saying now. And that's about as much as I can say.
I ask, is there evidence? You're not in a position to show me it, but is there evidence?
I don't recall to have knowledge about it.
The thing is that it's the state. Right, I saw a good analogy with Ricky Gervais, right? And he was talking about religion, yeah? Religion versus science. Science is fact, religion is opinion. And he said, we wiped off the face of this earth every single piece of science and every...
I saw that.
Well, for people who haven't seen it, every single piece of science is wiped off the earth. Every single piece of religion is wiped off the earth. In 1,000 years, every single piece of science will be back because it can be proven. There'll be tests that will be reoccurred. People will do the same things they did 1,000 years ago or 100 years ago or 25 years ago, they'll do the same tests in the future and come up with the same results. Without evidence, it's opinion. There's no fact. That you can't say fact if you don't have evidence.
What are we considering to be safe?
Interestingly, you did get very similar religions appearing in different parts of the world. But anyway, I'm not getting into that one.
All one thing. There's a thing, there's an entity in the sky, and it's created the earth. Well, regardless of what entity that is, it's all essentially the same background.
Yeah, it just depends. It just depends what drugs is the monk taking that is describing it. That's about what religion is.
Yeah.
As I said, I fully agree. I have no evidence to back up what I'm saying, so I look like a fool. I do agree.
No, you don't.
I do believe in my and you know, I do believe that this will happen at some point. But yeah, obviously,
you don't.
If you want to slag me off for posting this, then I'll take it.
The facts here are that I agree with your opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. I don't disagree that things need to be tested. There's a fact there. That is a fact. Things do need to be tested to a standard. But until that standard is released, no company can say that their testing will make you compliant with any standard.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a standard. I completely agree that there needs to be regulation on the market.
The only standard you've got is like you say, the 10 ml TPD juices.
Or the TRPR to be precise.
Even then, that's as vague as a cat's arsehole. The fact of the matter is that no one knows what the fuck they're doing, and they're all doing their best to comply. The people that give a shit are already trying to give a shit. The people that have spent thousands of pounds on a lab, thousands of pounds on testing that they found is already bullshit, and they wasted their time. People that actually give a fuck about the product they're putting out already give a fuck.
I think there's a lot of companies out there that spent hell of a lot of money on equipment when the TPD kicked in, and made hell of a lot of money off this equipment when everyone went apeshit and started testing their liquid. I think there's now a lot of equipment that's sat in some labs getting rather dusty, with a lot of directors asking questions. Why the fuck did we spend millions of pounds on equipment for testing? It seems to me, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but a lot of some of these testing companies who are supposed to be part of the vaping community are fighting against the community.
Yeah, fully agree.
When people see this,
but now let me please flip this whole situation, because there's another side to this whole story, which is going on in the background. Obviously,
I just need to sort something out. I don't want to see my ass crack. 2 seconds.
I don't even really sort of know at which stage this is, but I'm trying to monitor as much as I can. But as you probably know, one of the MPs has filed a bill to scrap electronic cigarettes from the TPD entirely, and I think it was at reading 3. Obviously, it requires. I'm not UK law specialist, but it requires 11 or 12 readings before it even can stand a chance. But what's kind of interesting about this is that this guy is a really clever guy, and he backed the bill up from a few angles. And one of them, he got the Royal Institute of Physicians involved into it, which is pretty much the Queen's Council. So this bill is, people are saying that it doesn't stand a chance, but I do believe it does stand a chance. And if this bill, if this becomes the law, then we sort of back to where we was before TPD, with standards set for how we're going to test the liquid, or how we're going to test, or how we're going to make the products compliant. And I believe that this is the most important thing that can happen to this industry, because it sort of brings back the regular sizes of the bottles. Obviously, liquid requires testing and all that, but this would sort of, remove the headache from the market. Because let's face it, if someone forced us, if someone shut down the short field solution and would force us back to the 10 mils, You know, a lot of people will stop vaping because they won't be able to afford it. I mean,
it would kill the industry.
It will kill the industry. Now, especially now, it would sort of kill or slow down or accelerate big tobacco controlling the industry. You know, instead of it happening in 5 years anyway, it probably would happen in under 24 months. So, guys, again, I'm against the TPD in its current shape, but I'm not against regulations to be applied to the market. I think there needs to be manufacturing traceability. I think every manufacturer should have some sort of insurance, be able to track the product that people inhale. I do imagine that, you know, I believe that every product should be tested on various occasions, not only as a one-off, just to make sure that the customer gets a product that we can take responsibility for. As simple as that. And, you know, and that's all I'm saying. And we all know that more than 50% of the market couldn't meet those terms and conditions at the minute, and this is what is killing our industry now. You know, and I know for a shop it's important to be competitive. I know it's important to have cheap liquids on the shelf as well. But, you know, at the end of the day, we are here for the same reason. And while we have this industry under control, which we have now, you know, let's have it under control as long as we can. And we need to speak one language, all of us. You know, whether you are a kitchen manufacturer or whether you are a £1 million lab, we need to find the platform to speak the same language. Simple as that. That's my opinion, you know. And I might be crazy believing that it's possible, but capitalism is not the ideal system, but it's probably the best we invented so far, you know. And I prefer to be controlled by capitalism than to be controlled by anarchy.
I think we ought to leave it to the government to decide. The government to decide what we constitute as safe. I think we need to let the government decide on what they consider to be safe to be inhaling. I think it's their decision, it's their understanding. You know, they've got millions of pounds worth of research behind them to do that. I don't think it's necessarily down to these testing companies to make that decision for us. I think, you know, if the government turn around to us and says, right, you must test for this, you must test for that, you must test for the other, this is the law. We have got black and white. We know specifically and exactly what we're testing for. Whether we agree to it or not, it's law. Okay? Yeah. Then we all abide by that. We all go for it. But unfortunately, it appears there's a lot of scaremongering going on from some, I'm not saying all of them, but some of the testing companies that are starting these conversations that are getting people panicked, and rightly so panicked, because they should be panicking. Because if you've not got testing in place, I've got testing in place. It does not bother me. I could not give a flying fuck. You want to see my paperwork? Here, see my paperwork. But there's obviously companies out there that are making probably millions of pounds a year, millions and millions of pounds a year on I'm not going to say bathtub, I'm not going to say kitchen, on untested juice. That, okay, yeah, as Chris said earlier, it could have a pube in it. Yeah, it could have skin in it. It could have whatever. But at the end of the day, if that does not test a government testing regime, then it should not be on the market. And if that company, this sounds cunty, if that company cannot afford to put the testing through, then I'm sorry, goodbye.
Why does it sound cunty? Why does it doesn't sound cunty? Why people think, why we are afraid to say that? If a company cannot afford to make their product safe for consumers to consume.
No, but let's say
I completely agree with Arthur on that. That is the most sense you've made all evening. I'm not saying you haven't made sense. I'm joking. that was such a good phrase,
Arthur. When you
hang on,
Chris. Well, let's make it personal without being personal. Arthur, when you started Up and On, could you afforded how many? You had 5 flavors initially. Is that right?
Six. No, I couldn't. And I always said I couldn't.
Deserve to be on the market? Did you deserve to be on people's shelves?
Well, no, perhaps not. But I've been in a fortunate position, Mark. I've been in a fortunate position that I started in a very young industry that wasn't regulated whatsoever, you know. But Mark, at the very end of the day, you know, just because I was in a fortunate position to establish my brand to a level where I could afford it because there was no regulations available, doesn't mean that the same person in the situation now, where the industry is trying to be regulated, should have the same right. You know, unfortunately, this is how the market works.
And I don't think I've been ever more on the fence about anything. Both of those things made so much sense. I completely agree with what Arthur says, that a company should not release a product that they're not able to guarantee is safe. But at the same time, bakers, people who set up fucking cake shops and all this bollocks, they started out making cakes for their mates and were told that they were good. Singers, they started out singing in their bedroom into a hairbrush and their mum put it on YouTube. People who, you know, generally all those sorts of things are all started like that. I think essentially liquid, the first batch you release to your mates should be the first batch you release to your mates. You should make your money up by selling cake. People who started out baking, the first cake they baked didn't go to mass market. It didn't go to the public. It didn't go to people they didn't know. It went to their friends. The first person who was singing, that they didn't walk into Simon Cowell's office and sing into a hairbrush. They did it in their bedroom. With e-liquid, it essentially started out, but then it has an easy access to the public. And that's the difference. Because you don't, well, apart from Dale, no, you don't generally start up an e-liquid shop until you've got an established consumer base or you've got feedback that your e-liquid is good. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's hard to know what it is. But I think generally sticking a nice sticker on something and selling it in bulk to a big company who can then sell it out to the market shouldn't happen in this day and age. But I also think it is the same thing that happened to like the likes of yourselves, Arthur.
David has just made a very, very good point. The cosmetics industry use a recipe testing regime. Then they have periodic.
That's exactly what I was saying. I don't disagree that things should be tested, but there should be a recipe testing regime, as David Soulsby put.
Fully agree.
I think this has been the most informative discussion we've ever had, Arthur, and it's all to you, my friend.
But you're saying it's like you were saying, putting it in, again back to the food. There's you've got your burger vans. As soon as you start doing I am selling this to the general public, you've suddenly got to get your food hygiene, regardless of it being.
When you sell it to the general public, that's when I think you should have a duty to ensure that it's safe. If you're giving it to your mates to try, I think that's different. But as soon as you sell it to the general public or to a shop that's going to sell it to the general public, you should have paid to have it tested. I completely agree with that. What I disagree with is that we have enough evidence or enough guidelines or enough laws to dictate to what level things should be tested. So any company that's selling testing before these dead set in stone regulations are put out, then they're selling short their customers. They are providing a service which they cannot guarantee, and they are offering certification or regulation in a market that they do not have set standards for. And that is where I'm completely in the middle right there. That is it. I completely agree with what you're saying, Arthur, but I disagree that any company on the market now can provide it.
Oh, and I agree with that. So fortunate enough, I'm not a company that's selling testing to other companies. We just sort of utilize the machinery we've got in house to test our own batches, and we didn't offer it out to actually make money, but just because it's there, and we've been long enough on the market and we've been through all the hurdles and hassles. Some of you will probably say, "What the fuck is talking about? He was only 3 months with Zeus," which is the truth. I've jumped a few companies in my career, in the vaping industry. And you know, I'm rather proud of it to be in a place now where I think I'm going to stay for a very, very, very long time, because finally I found a company that sort of, you know, goes with my morals and with my ethics. And you know, this is the main reason. So I fully agree with you. There is no set standard at the minute, or there's no set standard that anyone could prove at the minute that is what we have to obey with. But
can we get an opposing opinion in mind?
I'm just about to say that I've been bombarded with PMs throughout the show tonight.
I've heard it pinging.
Yeah, obviously, that wasn't me. That was Arthur pinging, not me.
I've got mine on silent as well. I'm conscientious. Is Arthur getting all those texts?
I'm also having a conversation with someone at the moment saying, please let me come in. I just feel that there's a second side to the argument that's been missed. Now I'm going to invite this person in just to have their say. To by no means is there any arguments, no beef, no nothing here. This is literally to get their point of view across.
Right.
I'm guessing they will be joining us.
Yeah.
Is it?
We don't have any arguments. If you disagree, you disagree.
No, Chris. No one argues as best as you.
I don't argue.
Who is it?
I strategically discuss.
Chris, you argue. There's no strategic discussion with you.
Come on, who is it? Because I don't know whether to switch off or not.
Don't switch off. Stick with it. They've promised not to have a go.
While I'm waiting for them to get in, do you know anywhere I can get some cheap Jabrufka?
There we go.
Do you know anywhere I can get some cheap Jabrufka?
Yeah, well, talking about regulations, I can't answer this question online, so hit me up.
Awesome answer.
Drop me a message. I need some.
Evening, Dale.
We're all friends.
We are all friends. That's what I'm saying.
Fuck's sake. I was waiting for this all day.
We're all sat here in exactly the same industry. We're all pissing into the same pot. At the end of the day, all our mortgages rely on this industry. We've all got different opinions. We've all got different morals. We've all got different understandings of things. You know, to hear, it's only fair that we hear from both sides and be genuine and honest. So in no way, I know that Dale and Arthur have had crosswords in regard to this conversation today, and in no way has this been orchestrated. Chris, Dale messaged me literally sort of 10 minutes ago to say, I really want to say what I've got to say. And I don't
ask, is this the comments I missed on the thread?
Don't get me wrong. I probably wouldn't have commented if Arthur hadn't put it. Me and Arthur disagree on everything. But
I just say something that we'll all agree on. Dale, you currently look like the yellow tub that comes out of Kinder Egg.
Chris, you look like a tubby cunt.
That's Dale.
You look a little bit like a minion.
That's Dale.
There you go.
Put your glasses on your thumb, that's it.
Right, come on, Dale.
No, I've not come in to argue against Arthur. Me and Arthur will just I'll wind him up till the day, as long as the day is. But for me, I have
But guys, let me just interrupt this. It's all love between me and Dale, and we really love each other for years. So whatever he will say, it's not, it's not racist.
I'm not having a go. I'm not having a go at Arthur. It's not his fault. He's Polish, right? I don't hold that against him. Right?
Have we got that recorded, please? Can I send the immigration center?
But yeah, like this thing, what's going on right now happened with the TPD, and we spoke about this, Mark, ages ago. One company has one piece of information, another company has another. There were several compliance companies, and these people were posting their license plates, hate TPD, fuck the TPD, we hate the TPD. And you're thinking, no, you fucking don't. There's nothing you hate about the TPD because you're millionaires like that, right? And this is the thing. Everyone's still getting information. Like, I've been getting information tonight. Me and Arthur had crosswords earlier. Arthur went away and did some personal research, not on behalf of his company. And me and Arthur have been arguing about this shit friendly all day, right? Now, my side of things is I've got one company that I speak to and I've got another company. Now, my question is the same as everyone else's. What the fuck is safe? What, and I mean that as a word, as a definition in this industry. What is safe? Now, the TRPI in regards to the manufactured products said, this is safe, this is what you need to do, go. Yet there's information coming forward from sources that saying GCMS testing is safe. Now, my argument with that is, if GCMS testing is safe, why is that not the only standard from the TPD? Why does it require further emissions testing? And then the other part of me is going, well, the reason that that's not the case is because GCMS testing tests the compounds in a liquid, whereas the emissions show the conversion from a liquid to a gas. So obviously what you're inhaling. And I fully agree with Arthur on insurance is necessary, because if I fuck something up and someone has the full right to sue me if I injure someone, touch wood, it never happens, and I want to be able to not go to prison or get my ass sued for an amount of personal money because of a mistake I've made. And I agree with Arthur as well in regards to traceability. Like, I know there's ISO 9001, which is like serious top level quality management, and I know large companies have got that in place. That is not cheap shit to get put in place. So we have our own quality management system, which I believe is adequate. If something went wrong with the sample, we could get it tested, and I could tell you what batch of Capella or whatever brand the issue came from. If some things are out of our control, you could have the best quality management system in the world, but all that does is provide you with a paper trail of where the fuck up came from. If Capella sends out a batch of vanilla crusted V2 with some fucking bleach in it, you won't know that you've done that until someone dies of drinking bleach or vaping bleach. But the best thing you can do is provide a traceable source to hold someone accountable for that issue, whether it be us, the VG, the PG, whoever. But the problem I've got is when some companies are dead set, and probably by rights, that they've got this information through this channel, which are linked to the MHRA, our training standards, and then you've got other companies who are saying this is the standard. One testing amount come across to me today. We were speaking to Arthur about different methods and stuff, and we were hashing it out. And one testing method was 1,300% cheaper than another testing method, and one was certain that this was the best way forward and this was going to be the standard, and the other one are dead set that that's going to be the standard. So from my point of view as a company who doesn't do testing, now when I say I don't do testing, I get things tested, but I don't conduct my own testing. I go to third-party companies for it because I don't have the machinery. Where the fuck do I go? Because, for example, $2,000 over 40 grand is a massive temptation to not go for the 40 grand option.
That's exactly what we need to know. Who
this is it. But I don't.
They'll provide that test. Who that person is needs to be elected by the government as the standard.
I agree. And my point is,
everyone should go to.
If trading standards booted my door in tomorrow, raided my warehouse, I know they're giving out times and dates. You've got to comply by this date. 7 days to get everything up. The testing takes 4 fucking weeks in most cases. So you wouldn't be able to you'd be closed down until you could re-provide a solution. But my question is, if I don't know what is safe, what is deemed as safe, because the only thing I can refer to, I would go back to my earliest reference point of what was put forward as safe, was the TRPR. That's the closest thing I've got to refer to sort of relate my products to be classed as safe, if you get what I mean. That's the only thing that's being put out there for content as to it can contain this.
That's the only thing that regulates liquid with intention to inhaling. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's the only thing we've got any reference to until something's put out there, because the TRPR regulates this e-liquid, this thing, this cloud, this massive industry. Well, then you've got short fill e-liquid, which is still fucking e-liquid, but it isn't regulated under the same regulation because of the loophole that's been found and exploited by us, by many companies. So if we don't reference back to the TPD to do that testing, what the fuck do we reference to? And if trading standards were to kick my door down, who, when I last spoke to them, didn't have a fucking clue really what e-liquid was, right? Apart from that vape shop down the road. This is West Yorkshire, not the whole country. So when they say to me, you need to prove that safe, and all I can turn around to them and say, to what guidelines? what fucking guidelines do I need to? Because if I hand and I said this to Arthur earlier, and I agreed with Arthur at this point, and someone else I was speaking to, they said if you showed them GCMS testing and the content of that, that should be enough to satisfy them. And I fully fucking agree that should be enough to satisfy trading standards. But you don't know how clued up they are, and you don't know what their directive they're going to be referring to. If they came in with the TPD in one hand or the TRPI in one hand, and they want to see your result, if you hand them a GCMS and they're looking to compare it, it won't pass. But that's if they've got the TRPI in that hand. If they haven't, what they've got in their hand, we fucking need. This is what we need. Whatever document they are going to, we need that, because how can we comply to something when the directive's not being put out there? The GPSR.com fucking bullshit that needs to be readily available to manufacturers. And right now we've got companies who know that they know what's going on here. They know what's going on here. They know what's going on. They've got insiders. They've got people there. They've got direct contacts. You've got 5 companies all that know for certain what it's going to be, but all 5 of them are fucking different.
I swear to God, in public, officially, on my dog's life, on my mother's life, that I'm not withholding any documentation but that Zushi's or myself has in order to perform a better sales pitch. I swear to God, I haven't got any documentation.
I'm out of that. But anyway,
I could have told you that. I could have told you that over the phone, you bastard.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though. This is my problem. I appreciate what you say. Now, anything you say, I'm going to contest because it's fun. It's a Tuesday, right? But in general, I understood what you were saying. I understood what your guys were saying, and I'm not. I wasn't that the GCMS testing. I believe is
that's a whole new step in our relationship, that you actually understand what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm even just talking about the language barrier, let alone what you said.
Yeah, but you type better English than you speak, so it's easier over Messenger, right? But what I'm saying is,
thank you.
I don't disagree with. I personally believe GCMS is archaic now as a form of testing for e-liquid. Because in its sole state, I think it's good as a part of a collaboration with toxicology, GCMS, and emissions. I think those are any trading standards who deny those 3 together are fucking retarded. Like, simple as that. But my issue with it is, if they've set one standard for compliant liquid, and they're trying to now regulate another one, surely they've got to go off the same standard, which is where we differed in opinion earlier. Because I would happily say fucking 30 grand on testing or 20 grand on testing if that would. But the last thing I fucking need, like any business needs, is to get grief off trading standards through not doing enough. Even though GCMS was the standard testing when we first started, it was 40 quid a test. They told you whether your nicotine were within 10% of where it should be, and they told you whether the shit that were in it, or they didn't even tell you whether it should or shouldn't be, they just said what was in it. And the only thing back then was diacetyl. Then AP became a problem, and acetylene became a problem, and acetaldehyde, and the fucking library of other shit that the TRPR deemed as shite, that became apparent. But again, if you've got these two fucking arguments going on, if we're arguing about it, that some cunt needs to turn around with an A4 document and say, "Fuck, right, there you go, jog on." Well, no matter how hard, no matter how expensive, no matter what level it is, no matter if it was 50 grand a flavour, if the document were there, you couldn't argue with it. This wouldn't be a conversation. Do you know what I mean? And the only thing that pisses me off about this isn't big tobacco. Like Mark said fucking exactly what I said earlier on, right? This isn't big tobacco. This isn't big pharma. The arguments with those guys have done. Those guys have been unofficially beat, and they're joining this industry now. They're buying up companies left, right, and centre. The bigger guys, and they thought, you know what? Fuck it. We can either lose profit or we can make profit on both sides. This is our testing companies. One in particular, I will name and shame. Vape Compliance, Stephen Buss, Wenker, right? He is an absolute arse biscuit.
Disclaimer: this is the opinion of Day, or not Vape.
This is my opinion, and I will still run him over if I fucking see him. Right? That guy owes me a lot of money, so fuck that guy. But he fucked it completely by, again, information this, information that. And these are the guys who have spent who are pushing the whole fuck the TPD. It's badly written. It's fucked. It's badly written for us, mate. It ain't badly written for you. We're fucking $3.5 grand a flavour from 2,000 companies worldwide paying you reams of money, and you live in a fucking 17-bed house in the middle of arse end of nowhere with a 2-mile long drive. You don't hate nothing about the TPD, but these companies are sat there now going, "This chair's comfy, but I won't be able to buy another because I'm fucked. I've got no money coming in." So they have to drum up these. They have to go to the government and say, "Well, hang on a minute. You know, we've done all your testing now. We've put a thing in place, but we're making no fucking money here. Like the short fills have smashed it." And I agree that short fill should be tested. Just I want to put that straight out there because there's a lot of shit out there that is unsafe. But I think knowledge of what people do can supersede that in the absence of testing before putting a product onto the market. That's one thing I was saying to Arthur earlier on. Like, I'm not a stupid geezer. I've been doing this long enough, and I've researched the products that I use long enough to know that if I use X up to a certain percentage, it would pass TPD if I tested it. So I will put a product onto the market because I know when it comes to it that it will go through based on I've used them before and they've gone through the testing process. Now, I'm confident in my abilities, but there's too many people who don't have that approach and they just go bang, 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 easy tenner. You know what I mean? And that's my issue with it. But the problem I've got is it's the fucking compliance companies, the people in this industry who vape, who are in this industry, supporting the industry, who are going to the government and saying we need this regulation in place. And the government aren't arguing with them because these guys have been doing the testing for the TRPR. So they're going, yeah, that's a great idea. We don't have a fucking clue what we're talking about. We'll let you. And yes, self-governing is great, but the problem is the people who are doing it for their own financial benefit. They're doing it to line their own pockets. They're setting the regulation within this industry because it means we have to go back to them, who are on a lot lower revenue stream now, to boost them back up to the millions that they used to pay for all the fucking 200 grand a year scientists that they're employing. And that's what fucking winds me up. And it was too much to type at 200 characters limit. So that's why I wanted to come on.
I think, I don't know, as someone who's completely out of the, I don't make juice. It just seems that the one thing we can't do is just second guess what is going to happen. We can't be going, oh, well, you've got to test it for this, you've got to test it for that, you've got to test it for the other. You've just got to just sit back and wait and see what's coming. The only guideline we've got at the minute is the TRPR.
I think that's bullshit.
Guidelines,
though, because TRPR was designed to test things that contain nicotine. So that kind of
but to be honest, Chris, the nicotine was never the problem. You know what I mean? No one ever turned around and said, "Fucking hell, this it could be 3.1 milligram." That was never the argument.
Yeah.
And if anyone's trying to tell me that a short fill is never intended to have nicotine in it, they're a fucking liar.
Exactly. But again, the nicotine, for me, the nicotine never, for everyone, the nicotine has never been the problem.
Well, let me interrupt you here. The nicotine isn't a problem. In this relation, the nicotine isn't a problem because the nicotine is the only compliant product. You know what I mean? So
if you're adding that nicotine short fill to something, then the end result of whatever you've added it to should be as compliant as the 10 ml bottle that the nicotine's come out of.
This is a perfect point. This is a perfect point. Right now, in the current reality, you've got a short fill that fucking hell has to go with the nic shot, right?
Yeah.
You test the nicotine to the TRPR standard, so you make it compliant for consume. Okay. And now all I'm saying is that because this product, the short fill, is not tested, we haven't got the guarantee that by adding a compliant safe nicotine shot, we're making the product compliant. That's what I'm saying. We're mixing a compliant product with something that maybe not compliant and perhaps not safe. You know what I mean? So the idea of the short fill as a way around the big bottles is perfectly fine with me. All I'm saying is you've got 80, 100 or 50 mil of a product that potentially is hazardous for you to consume to go with a compliant product, and this is not compliant in the essence. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree. And as far as it goes when it comes to testing of e-liquids, I've never disagreed with you on that. We've never ever not agreed on that subject. I fully agree with that. But everyone says the government can't do this. They can't regulate. I've said it myself, and it was only about a week ago that I realised that the fucking can. Like everyone's like, you can't regulate you can't regulate short fills. You can't. I used to say all the time that I'll just start selling lubricant, right? But at the end of the day, you say that people say the government can't do that. They can't. The government can do what they fucking like. If they write it down and put it into legislation, you've got to follow it. That is the fucking be all and end all of it. And all they have to do to shut down the entire short fill market is say, if you introduce vegetable glycerin and propylene glycol, two extremely common main ingredient products of the vaping industry, with a food flavouring, and it is in a vaping environment, i.e. a vape shop, it is classed as an e-liquid product and it needs to be tested, because at the end of the day, it's not the PG, it's not the VG, it's not the nicotine, it's the flavourings where the problem comes into it. I'm not saying regulate food flavourings because they're already regulated in their own industry. We've merged that over and it's become part of the e-liquid market. So put an annex in there that stipulates if a food concentrate product is used in the vaping industry, and you can try and find all the ways out of it you like. If you're a lab and a warehouse that manufactures e-liquid and you've got food concentrates in there, there's beyond reasonable doubt is all you need to go off to prove that you are using that for e-liquid products. So the second that leaves the food industry and goes into an e-liquid lab, you regulate the concentrates. Simple. Yeah. That stops people in the DIY market fucking themselves up.
And this is the one sentence that could have changed CBD completely, and all they had to say is liquid or product with intention to use in an electronic cigarette. Done, sorted, dusted, forgotten. No fucking untested shit on the market for £5 a bottle. Well, guys, let's face it. We apart from passion and apart from saving our lives and other people's lives, we all here at the very end as a business for the money, don't we? I mean, fucking hell. And we have to make money, and we just can't make money to cover the product to be safe when we have to compete with people who are selling short fills for $2.50. Fucking hell.
Don't get me wrong. I enjoy having a comfortable life, like I'm sure the majority of people in this industry do. I admire the people who've made millions and millions of pounds. They started at the right time, a better time than we did. We could have done better in the time we've had by not making mistakes here and there. But on the other hand, honest on my son's life, I like to be a busy person. I don't like to be sat around. So the main reason I like this industry, means my family are secure and I'm busy all the fucking time. Right? Even when I'm on holiday, I'm working. When I'm at home, I'm working. This is probably the least work I've done all week so far. And I'm sat here talking about fucking work.
You don't have to tell me about being busy, because I've started yesterday in Mansfield, went to Chester, then to Birmingham, then to Portsmouth, and I'm fucking Dover today. And it doesn't look like I'm going to come back home before Wednesday evening. So I like to keep busy myself. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but doing airport transfers don't count.
Fuck off.
But yeah, like I say, it's one of them things where I don't fucking know, but there needs to be a fucking standard, because it's becoming a nightmare. And like I said, the one thing I never disagree with Arthur on is that things need to be tested.
Yeah. And I think the core of our industry, so the people who we know for the last 3 years, and we all speak the same. No, we are all on the same ship, sailing in the same direction. We just have different steering wheels on our way to there, and that's what we need to do. We need to unify the language we speak. Instead of arguing about things, just formulate one opinion and approach it. That's what I have to say. And
yeah, but you try to formulate one opinion in this industry, mate. It just didn't happen. Like, there's 5 people in here that probably have 5 different opinions on it. But
look, there's 5 people here who initially thought coming into this conversation with different opinions, but the outline, the bottom line of this conversation is we all agree that we want the product to be safe. Isn't that the case?
Well, I agree. Do you not think though? Like, I know, and I've given you shit for this. I know you had opinions on short fills when they came out. We had 2 very public different opinions on short fills.
Yeah.
I went my route, you went yours. But do you not think with the amount of disinterest and how quiet the industry got quiet when it came to 10 mils? Now, I'm not talking about distribution sales. I'm on about the buzz that vaping had years ago. Got really, really subdued when 10 mils were the only thing about. Because it took a few months for people to start putting short fills into production.
Yeah.
I will comfortably say we were definitely one of the first in the UK. Probably not the first, but one of the early people to put short fills out there from a UK brand side of things. Now, but that was still a good few months because we were panicking. We wanted to do it, but we thought, fuck, we're either going to boom or bust here, and we took the risk. But do you not think with how quiet and subdued the industry buzz got, that short fills, whilst we are now hanging ourselves slightly as companies in price wars and product wars and I never wanted to have 12 fucking ranges.
I know where you're going with it, and I partially agree and partially disagree. You know, the reason being is, in a way, the short fill burst saved this industry, you know, to what it is now, or brought it back to what it is now. But that's because, you know, I'm yet to think that if the 10 mil was the only available product on the shelf, people would moan and moan and moan and adapt at some point to what is available on the shelf. Yeah, probably would shrink the industry by a little bit, but still, it was always like that. You know, people would eventually adapt. You know, because it's still a safer alternative to smoking at the very end of the day. So, in that, as I said before, I think the most ridiculous bit about the TPD is sort of 10 mil bottle size regulation, because, you know, it's no good for the end customer. It's no good for the manufacturer. It's not an easy process. It required a lot of investment into machinery, or some smaller manufacturers had to outsource it just to keep it alive. You know, so yeah, I think the short fill saved the industry in a way, but then caused a bigger mess than it was ever, because that's what the state at the minute is.
It is a big mess. I agree with you there. And companies are having, including myself, having to go out of the comfort zone and bring out ranges to keep yourself relevant and to keep yourself in a market that is forever being flooded. Like I say, I honestly had no fucking plans ever. I had a plan to do a fruit range and a dessert range, job done. There are now 12 of them on our part, because the next best thing is the only way you stay apparent. And whilst I appreciate that 90%, probably 85% of the market now is your 10 mil, 50-50, mouth-to-lung customers, it is without a doubt the 15% of hobbyists that keeps vaping popular in the media and on social media. Because Joe Bloggs, who buys 4 V4 Vapor or 4 Zeus Juice a week or whatever to vape in their mouth-to-lung, so they're on social media going, boom, check out the black. You know, they're not doing that. Check out my pockets. They're not doing that. Yeah, it's the 15% of the hobbyists that are keeping vaping popular, which keeps it in the media, positive or not, which creates Vaporul. I mean, that's fucking brilliant. Like Vaporul being a thing now, that's fantastic. Stoptober now endorsing. That wouldn't have happened if the hobbyist vapor weren't making it so boom.
I fully agree with you. I fully agree on
all these hashtag Instagram vapors, mate. There was Fresh Skater J. He got us there.
Fuck that wanker. But, like the one thing that I have no control over this. Mark has no control over this. You would have had no control over that one. It's people saying in the chat, and we've said it, and I agree. £2.50 for 60 mil is fucking ridiculous. However, we came into a market where the precedent and the price was set were flawless. 60 mils. They were the first people to come into the UK with a 60 mil and go 20 quid. Set the benchmark. That was it. 20 quid for 60 mil. Boom. That then got dropped because fucking people started thinking, fuck this, I can do a massive cunting bottle for fucking X amount, and then that changed the price, and the pricing's been like this. But there is no secret that the margins in e-liquid are good margins. Now, the average margin for a manufacturer in any industry is 5%. The reason it's 5% is because they manufacture it by the 50 pallet loads and they send it out. That 5% soon mounts up on volume. Now, because every other man and his dog and his fucking sister-in-law is a distributor, now they're all distros are taking on this, and the distro are buying fucking 30 bottles of each. You know, that's not a distro. But because these people exist, you have to put your margins up now. So we're at a point where 15 quid for 60 mil is a standard, whether it's got nick in it or it's not. But we make a lot larger margins in our industry than any other at manufacturer level. But that's not me being greedy. That's not Arthur being greedy. It's not Mark being greedy. That was a preset level. Now, these companies coming in at $2.50 a bottle, they aren't doing it because they think, do you know what? The e-liquid industry is corrupt. We should be making 5%. They're doing it because they're using fucking shit stuff and they want to get their bit of the market. But what they don't realise is consumers aren't fucking stupid anymore. They would rather spend 15 quid on a bottle because you can kind of associate cost with safety to a point, which I think you spoke about before. Because I wouldn't fucking trust a bottle of... I wouldn't buy a bottle from B&M for £1, even though it's probably made in a lot better lab than we have. Do you know what I mean? I just wouldn't trust it. To me, it screams cheap. Do you know what I mean? And cheap to me doesn't scream safe. You know, you won't. I'd rather go on Dodgems at fucking Alton Towers.
You don't expect a cheap bottle of juice to taste good, do you?
No, and that's off-putting to me and to a lot of consumers, and that's where
I think this is some of the issue with new vapors who are trying to quit smoking is that they are ending up with, well, it's got to be cheaper than smoking. I've got to go for the cheapest bottle. They end up with some shit tat that doesn't exactly taste wonderful, and that's it. Tried that vaping. It was awful.
And the worst thing is, they never. I've said this to Mark countless times from a retail point of view. If you sell someone the wrong kit, if you're that arsehole who sells an alien kit to a customer, they don't tell their mates that the alien kit was shit. They tell their mates that the Yorkshire Vapor was shit, or that Vapest was shit, or that Zeus was shit, because they would say they don't reference the mod.
They never say that Zeus is shit.
All right, gods recognise gods. Hey, and
did you just dab? Really?
Right, guys, I've just noticed the time. You know what? This evening has been a real eye-opener, not only for me, but I'm hoping that the guys in chat have enjoyed it as well. I'm going to hang around tonight.
I'm going to hang around for a bit. I want to see what people in chat join and say, put their 2p in and bully Arthur.
Arthur, can you hang around for a little while?
Yeah, I can hang around. I'm not in a hurry.
Dale?
Wait, what's the procedure now? What's the procedure? Will be questions asked from the public?
Just don't hang up. Most of our guests, we turn off the live feed, they hang up.
We're allowed to, because it's not live, we're allowed to be a lot more xenophobic.
And it gets even more sweary.
And by we, I mean me.
Baz, Dale, how much do you sell juice for?
It varies on size. 20 quid for 120 ml short fill.
There we go, Baz.
That's my benchmark.
20 quid for a 120 ml short fill. That's exactly the same as ours. Pretty much exactly the same across the market. It's been a fantastic show, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Those of you that want to join us, I'm going to pop the post, the link in the Vape Talk UK Facebook group. I'm also going to pop it in the chat, but I've got a feeling it probably won't work. So head to the Vape Talk UK. Before you go, give us a quick thumbs up on YouTube. We'd really appreciate that. And thank you very much. Thank you to Arthur.
Thank you. I appreciate the chance for being here, and I really did enjoy it. So
fantastic. And we didn't rip you to shreds like you thought.
No, you didn't actually. I was quite surprised. Oh, I was good prepared.
I don't know about that one.
Thank you very much to Dale for joining us, just for putting the record straight.
I'm just going to send the translator back.
We will catch you guys next week. See you next week, guys. See you next Tuesday.
Bye.